High-level exhibition games are here to stay, and it is oh so glorious.
You are Locked On College Basketball, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? Happy Monday, the last week of July. It's hard to believe. Welcome into the Locked On College Basketball Podcast, the only daily national college hoop show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shade. You're joining me at the place to get your college basketball content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Podcast Network. I want to thank you so much for making us your first listener watch to get your Monday going the absolute right way. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first order. Hey, special shout out to all the everydayers here. So glad y'all are here. And all the members of the Locked On College Basketball Discord. What's up to you guys? Let's get after it here on the show today. Here's where we're headed. Over the weekend, we learned of yet another marquee matchup as part of the exhibition season. The slate just keeps getting more and more insane. I want to look at that. Boogie Fland, you might have heard, is out of the hospital. He had surgery a while ago, but he's going to be on the shelf for a bit. What is that going to mean for Florida and him going forward? He was not the only one in the hospital recently. Obviously, last week, Bill Self had to go in for another heart issue. He's home now, but yeah, man, we just need to look at where things are at with Bill Self. Great news. As of Saturday, 100 days until the season starts. That means now just double digits. We're down to 98 as of today, Monday. It can't get here quick enough. Look, the calendar turns to August on Friday, and that means August, September, October, November. We're counting it as 3 months until the season starts. That's great news. Legitimately, when is the 3rd? That'll be Sunday. So September, October, November. Yeah, from Sunday, it'll be 3 months to the day. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Let's go. Last week on the show on Friday, we did Friday Facts. Andy wasn't here, so I Friday Factsed myself. It was crazy and fun. And I challenged you all to do it as well. And I said, anybody who got 18 out of 20 right, we did the most recent 20 Final Four participants. Anybody that got 18 or more correct, I'd give them a shout out. Only person I heard from was Isaac Jenks. It's a great name, right? And so Isaac, shout out to you, buddy. You got 19 out of 20 right. You beat me. You're a big winner. Way to go. Anybody else who wants shouts, make sure to let us know after the next Friday Facts. All right, let's get right into it. Exhibition season. And look, the NCAA, let's just start here at the general level. There's a lot that we give them a hard time about. And so when they do things correctly and when they do things that are right and smart and good, I want to let the praise and the adulation be just as loud as the criticism. So NCAA, what you've done in the last couple off seasons to allow legitimate high-level public televised exhibition games is awesome. It's so good for the sport. Part of it for me is because I feel like coaches are so often so reticent to schedule these high major games during non-conference play. Not all of them. There are some coaches, and we shout them out when they do, are willing to go play anyone, anywhere, at any time. And I'm here for it, and I love it. But what the exhibition stuff has allowed to do now is you can schedule these games against the teams everybody wants to see you play, and it is nothing but helpful for you because it doesn't count against your record, and you learn against another high-level team. You're going to get good revenue from it, and it's going to be great. So the most recent example of that is, I believe it was on Friday, announced that Tennessee is going to host Duke, and that's going to cap off basically a crazy weekend. It's going to be on a Sunday in late October, going to cap off a crazy late October weekend of great games. This specific one is going to be Sunday, October 26th, in Knoxville, 7 p.m. The TV, it's going to be on TV. That again, this is incredible, but that'll be announced later. We don't have that yet. And what's also cool about the exhibition side of it is not only is it like high level matchup, not only is it like, hey, coach, it can't hurt you. It ain't going to count. But it's very affordable. So Tennessee announced like, hey, this isn't going to be part of our season ticket package, but season ticket holders have first right of refusal to their seats. And when you look at the costs, upper level tickets start at $20, lower level tickets start at $35. So it's also a very accessible way. If you're somebody that like wasn't able to get in on a regular season game or something like that, it's like, and you're a Tennessee fan, guess what? Come pay less money for a game. You'd love it to count. It doesn't, whatever, but you get to see Duke come in with the Boozers, fresh off of Final Four from Coach Shire, and good night. I mean, how fun is that? I just think this is a big win at so many levels. So I said that to say I love the concept. I love getting this Duke at Tennessee game. But I realized over the weekend, once this game was announced, I was like, man, let me look to see if I can find, because I feel like there's so many of these incredible exhibition matchups, and I couldn't remember who all they were. So I started looking around, and as of yet, unless I just can't find it, nobody has a list. So I was like, let me just start a list. And this list is not going to be exhaustive, but it's at least a scatter shot of like a large majority of the big time exhibition games that we already have. I guess I should maybe start an actual list so that somebody's got it somewhere. So if you're somebody that knows of an exhibition game that's not on the list I'm about to give you, send it my way, put it in the chat, whatever, and I'll make sure to get it added. So I'm just going to go chronologically through this thing and culminating that weekend of the Tennessee Duke game, because my word, that's on Sunday. But that Friday night, there are 4 games that I'm like, good grief, this is insanity. So let's start at the earliest one I've seen. It'll be Monday, October 13th, Boston College at UConn. Nice New England-y game. There, obviously, that one doesn't, it's like, on the Boston College side of it, but it is 2 high major teams playing, and we don't often get that, right? That Wednesday, October 15th, is where we're going to get Ballin and Boutwell. I talked about this on the show a couple weeks ago, but it's 3 straight nights in Birmingham of different Alabama teams playing in Boutwell Auditorium there in Birmingham. The first night is Alabama A&M in Sanford. Sanford is right there in Birmingham. Actually, my good buddy Joe is a professor in their sports administration program. So shouts to you, Dr. Joe Peterson. But then Wednesday is going to be Auburn against Oklahoma State. And then Thursday, the 16th, is going to be Alabama against Florida State. And so, like, how cool is that? You get both of these Alabama schools that are probably going to be ranked like in the teens coming into it as of today. I put down John Rothstein's rankings as of right now for all of these teams. UConn 6th, Auburn 16, Bama 17. We go to that Friday, the next night, and this is our first, we'll call it Rothstein ranked matchup, because that Friday, Iowa State, number 15 in the Rothstein 45, at number 25 Creighton. So this is our first ranked on ranked matchup, and it starts a streak. It's going to be insanity. So that's Friday night. Then Saturday night, BYU has 2 exhibitions against high majors. This is the first one of them. Saturday the 18th, BYU, who's number 8 at Rothstein right now, is a true road game at Nebraska. And then we fast forward to the weekend that has me giddy. The next Friday night, October 24th, shout out to my buddy Tim. It's his birthday. Listen to these 4 matchups. Number 1, Purdue. Again, these are John Rothstein's rankings that I'm using. Number 1, Purdue at number 12, Kentucky. That's in Rupp. Number 32, Kansas at 14, Louisville. Number 27, North Carolina at number 8, BYU. And Oklahoma at number 23, Wisconsin. That one's going to be in Fiserv Arena there where the Bucks play. I mean, that is crazy, crazy stuff. Just hear those teams again. Purdue at Kentucky, Kansas at Louisville, and remember, Louisville's good again, Carolina at BYU, and Oklahoma at Wisconsin. Come on, that's all on one day. Guaranteed we're going to get TV stuff, hopefully, for all 4 of those matchups. But it's like, that's when I think about when one day when we get a whole bunch of matchups like that, it's the Saturdays in December that we usually get like these kind of non-con games. We're getting all of this in October. I mean, that's August, September, October. That's 3 months from right now. Today is July 28th. Those games are happening on October 24th. That's incredible stuff. I'm geeked for it, and I can't wait. Going to be so many high-level games. Well, that very Sunday, excuse me, October 26th, is where we get that Duke at Tennessee game that we talked about at the beginning of the segment. That's number 9 Duke at number 19 Tennessee, so another ranked-on-ranked game. That next Tuesday, the 28th of October, number 21 Michigan State at number 6 UConn, and then a couple other ranked-on-ranked matchups that we don't have either it's been rumored about everywhere, but we just don't have confirmation formally or a date yet, is number 19 Tennessee at number 5 Michigan. So Tennessee playing Duke and Michigan in exhibition? Come on, man, that's great. And then the other one is Michigan at St. John's in MSG. That would be, per Rothstein's rankings, that's a top 5 matchup in MSG somewhere in exhibition play. So Michigan playing Tennessee and St. John. I mean, this is incredible stuff, you guys. So I don't know about you. Clearly, you can hear from me. I am geeked about it. This is phenomenal stuff. So again, NCAA, thank you for allowing this to happen. It's going to make stuff really pop off earlier in October when the NBA is starting to get going. And for people who are, like myself, more college basketball than college football. I love college football too, but man, I am here for the basketball. It gets it going earlier, and I'm so excited for it. One of those players I'm very excited to see is Boogie Fland. After his freshman year at Arkansas, transfers to Florida, who's trying to defend their national championship. He had hernia surgery earlier this month. Second season in a row, he's going to be injured at some level. Is it an area of concern? I don't know, but we're going to talk about it coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Monarch Money, do you ever wish managing your money felt easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility of and control over all of your finances. Monarch Money is more than a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center where you can track your accounts, your investments, and all your spending right there in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. That's such a great thing. Something I've found that I really love is having everything financial right there in one app. So instead of having to remember to use a whole bunch of different apps or having a folder full of them on my phone, I just go straight to Monarch, and that makes managing the day-to-day of it all so much easier. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Again, that's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. Okay, Boogie Fland. Let's get some water as we're getting back into this thing. It's a Monday morning and the voice is getting going. Boogie Fland, we learned from Todd Golden, had sports hernia surgery back on July 3rd, earlier this month. So that's 25 days ago now. What's that, like 3.5 weeks ago? Coach Golden says that he expects him to be full speed by the time things start in September. The announcement is that, excuse me, he's sidelined up to 6 weeks. So I'm a calendar nerd. I love calendar stuff. You with me on that? I like to look at calendar. I don't know. I'm weird, you guys. But from July 3rd, 6 weeks to the day would be Thursday, August 14th. So that would be 2 weeks from this Thursday he's got left if everything goes according to plan. And that's just sideline. That's not saying like he'll be back to full speed on August 14th. That's just saying if everything goes right in 6 weeks, he can start working back up to speed. So there's a whole nother set of time to do, PT or whatever he needs to do to get back up to game speed, to get all the conditioning back up, to get the strength back up down there. Man, you guys, I was born with a hernia. It ain't no joke, man. It's some real stuff, and you don't want to play with that. And look, here's the truth of the matter. It is very wise for Florida, for Boogie to take care of this now in the summer rather than let it fester and try to play through it. If it happened mid-season and it would cost him the rest of the year, maybe you try to play through it. But since it's something that happens here in the summer, it is the wisest move to do it right now. Here's what Coach Golden told ESPN, quote, "He'll be back when school starts," which I don't know when school starts for University of Florida, but let's assume it's mid-August, right? Like my kids start school again. I think it's Monday, August 18th, maybe. So let's assume it's August 18th and he'll be starting going at that point. If that's the case and he's getting back up to speed as school starts. Okay, let's go back to Coach Golden. Quote, he'll be back when school starts. He could have played through it, but it made more sense to get it taken care of so he didn't have to worry about it during the season, end quote. I mean, sure, he could play through it, but at what level of Boogie could he be? And, so it's the kind of thing, as Coach Golden is saying there, if it was, again, mid-season, you'd play through it, do your best, and see what you could do. But hopefully this helps get Boogie back to 100%. Now, obviously, as you look at it, this could hurt Florida in the short term, right? But ultimately, it is going to be better in the long run. Because which would you prefer? Let's imagine both scenarios. You delay having the surgery. You start the season fine. Maybe you're 85 to 90% of yourself. I don't know what percentage. But you risk getting sidelined during the season again. And remember, Boogie sidelined last season. Completely different injury, but still an injury. Think about it like Halliburton, right? Had his issues. And they're like, hey, let's keep playing. And we all saw what happened in Game 7. And I'm not saying that is what would happen to Boogie if he kept playing because it's a different injury, but it's that kind of thing. So if you delay, that could be the thing, but you risk what could happen later. Or take care of it now, a couple weeks ago, like he did. Maybe you have a slower start to get back up to game speed. And, who knows? Everybody is different. And I don't mean everybody, I mean everybody is different and reacts differently and recovers differently. And it depends on has Boogie been faithful to not push it right now when he shouldn't? All of those kind of things. And so hopefully he can get up to legit full game speed by the start of the season, maybe by the turn of the year. Who knows what that'll be? And only he can know truly when he's fully ready to go. All of that said, though, I feel like I'm to the point with Boogie where I do have concern. Obviously, like I said, different injury, but he missed that time last year with that thumb injury where he had to step out and have surgery. So he was out basically January 19th to March 19th. So 2 months, came back, didn't play in the SEC tournament, came back though and played in the NCAA tournament, helped Arkansas go on that little bit of a run that they went on. And you just, when I don't know what it is, even when it's injuries that are completely different, when they start piling injuries, it's like, I don't know, man. I've been doing this too long and seen it too much where it's like, are you ever going to be fully healthy? Right? Like that is a concern. And then the other concern I have is when you think about Florida's roster this year, the thing you feel good about, the thing you feel certain and sure of is the front court. They literally returned their entire front court. Tommy Hawk, Alex Condon, Micah Handlogton, Ruben Chinyelu, right? Like that entire quartet is back, which is insanity to me. But what is different is the backcourt. And it's not like, we exchanged a couple pieces. I mean, like in the same way that the front court is wholesale the same, the backcourt is wholesale different. Obviously, all those guys are out the door, even Aberdeen, right? Who we thought would step in with the trio leaving with Elijah Martin and Walter Clayton, right? Like those guys are out. Thought Aberdeen might step in. No, he's out the door as well. And so you got all of these complete changeover. And so one of the things that I was hopeful for was that Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland would have all this time together to get ready, to get prepped, to figure out how they're going to be. And now they're going to miss out on a good chunk of that because I think that's the question is how do they fit together? Because Xavier Lee, Boogie Fland are both high usage guys. Xavier Lee at Princeton, each of the past 2 years has been 28% usage rate. Boogie last year for Arkansas was 23% in the time that he played. And so it's something you can certainly have conversations about while Boogie's on the shelf, but it just ain't the same as being on the court together with the rest of your team and figuring out how to be able to do that. And so it's not just about, all right, when can Boogie start getting going again? When will Boogie be ready full game speed? It's not just those conversations. It's how now, because of that delay, do Boogie Fland and Xavier Lee work at getting themselves figured out and then getting the full team figured out? That's going to be a different issue, because in the time that Boogie's out, Xavier Lee is going to take a bigger role. And then how does that mentally come back together later? So these are all just like, could it all be fine? Could Boogie be legit 100% ready to go by November 3rd or whenever Florida's first game is? Absolutely. Could he and Xavier Lee have it all figured out, squared away, don't miss a beat? Absolutely. But it's at very least an area of concern for me. So am I crazy critically worried? No. But my eyebrows are raised a little bit, and I think it's something to watch, especially because there's going to be so many eyeballs on the defending national champions, and how could they be the team to run it back? And let's keep in mind, since tournament expansion, we've only had a couple teams go back-to-back: Duke, Florida, and UConn, and now Florida could potentially do it again. They've got kind of the personnel to be able to do so, making it all the more intriguing. So we'll keep our eyes on it. Now, Boogie Fland is not the only high-profile name to be in the hospital recently. Bill Self also just spent time in the hospital. At what point does his health concern become a bigger issue than basketball? We'll try to figure that out and talk about it to wrap the show in just a second. Right after I tell you about Game Time. Look, we've all been there. It's so stressful when you have to get into a digital line for concert tickets or show tickets or whatever it is. You sit there waiting for the clock. You're watching the second hand. Refresh. Have you been there? And it's like you're trying, and the tickets go on sale, and something happens and you lose your spot in line, and you're just, you're dying inside because you've been waiting to do this. Well, y'all, live music should be about making the memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping like that. And that's where Game Time comes in. Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices, they actually drop as it gets closer to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. You worried about what happens if plans change? Don't be. The Game Time guarantee has your back in cancellation protection and more. I recently used Game Time to help my family. Literally a week ago, we went to see Dude Perfect, and my kids are ate up with it. They absolutely love it. Tyler and all the twins and all the rest of the guys, man, it was phenomenal stuff. And we bought our tickets through Game Time. It was my first usage of Game Time, so I was like, I hope this goes well. And let me tell you, it was flawless. It was seamless. Game Time, thank you. You made it so easy. Take the guesswork out of buying concert tickets and show tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Terms apply. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. All right, we got to wrap the show today talking about Coach Bill Self. As a reminder, 2 postseasons ago, Coach Self had a heart issue. He ended up missing the Big 12 tournament, ended up missing the NCAA tournament. There was just that will he, won't he. I feel like each game they played, and each time it was like, look, Coach Self can't come back. And that was wise to not rush him back. There's so much stress, and you don't want to play around with heart stuff, man, because literally one mess up, and it's like you're done. There's no recovering from that. We just touched on it briefly on Friday's show, but Coach Bill Self had another issue last Thursday where he had to go into the hospital, ended up having 2 stents put in, and it was like, hey, we expect Coach to be fine. He's going to get to go home soon and all that. Well, the big news is, I guess I buried the lead a little bit here, that on Saturday, Coach Self himself issued a statement because he had been able to leave the hospital. He said, quote, "I want to thank all the amazing doctors and nurses at LMH Health for the excellent care that I received during my stay there. I feel strong and I'm excited to be home. Our team has had a productive summer and look forward to our batteries being recharged and prepping for this upcoming season." End quote. First off, awesome news. This is so great that they're able to get the stents put in. He's okay. The doctors, the medical professionals feel comfortable enough to release Coach to go home. That's awesome. As just looking at this bigger timeline, you just start to worry in such a high pressure, high stress, like inundation type job where there's no quit, no stop, hardly ever. And now this is two big heart things publicly that we've, learned of with Coach Self. The man is 62 years old, if I've done my math correctly, or if Google told me correctly. He's made more money than the vast majority of us could ever dream about. And you just start to take stock of things, right? And you start thinking about, like, I'm a man, I'm 41 years old. I've got two kids. They're just out in another room, out beyond my podcasting room. And like, you just start to think about those kind of things and grandkids eventually. And it's like, I don't want to do something to myself that is going to cost me literally my life or years off my life or whatever it may be. And so, like, I know Coach is saying, hey, I feel strong. I'm excited to be home. We've had a great offseason. I'm looking forward to it. But even reading between the lines, he said, we look forward to our batteries being recharged, right? It's like, you're tired, you're worn down, and you're going to have to take some breaks here. And so at some level, the guy that CJ Moore of The Athletic just named the number one coach of the 2000s over Coach K, over Roy Williams, over Jay Wright, over everybody. By the way, it's a great list. You should go check it out. Really intriguing how he went about that enterprise. But I just, you start to wonder, at what point does the balance of taking care of your health have to matter over and above winning more basketball games? And I don't doubt for a second that those are conversations that Bill Self and his family are having. I just know it's something I would really struggle with. That said, I hope that everything's fine, and I hope he coaches productively for another decade and that he continue, like, here's something that might have an effect on it. We all know, we've talked about it a ton here on the show. Kansas has had two very back-to-back un-Kansas-like years. For the first time in literally decades, finishing outside of the top three in conference in back-to-back seasons. They've had some struggles in the transfer portal with guys performing, injury to El Marco Jackson last year, people not popping off like you thought they would. And so now, they lose DeJuan Harris, they lose some critical pieces that were part of an era. And now we go into a new era. So very curious to see, like, at some level, is part of it, like, I don't want to go out like that. If Bill Self can get the Jayhawks, who on paper, like we talked about it earlier in the show, where does John Rothstein have them right now? It's not like he's projecting them preseason number one again. Kansas was number 32 in Rothstein's 45 right now, right? And so it's like, man, we're out here to prove you guys wrong. I wouldn't, the competitor in me would feel the exact same way if I was Coach Self. That said, it's just something to watch. How does Coach Self do? Remember Norm Roberts, who took over for him when he had to miss a couple seasons ago, recently retired. So it's not like we can turn it over to him. Let's also remember this offseason, Kansas has brought in Kansas great Jacques Vaughn, who has NBA head coaching experience. We speculated at the time right here on the show. Could that be a coach in waiting situation? Well, now that might become all the more like real than ever. And so all of this is something to watch for one of the most prestigious programs in all of college basketball. But to both Boogie Fland, who we've talked about today, and to Coach Self, best wishes, speedy recoveries to both of you, and can't wait to see you playing on the floor and coaching on the floor this season, man. It's going to be electric. And all these exhibition games, like we talked about, coming sooner than we could have ever hoped for. So, you guys, thanks so much for being here with us on a Monday to kick off a brand new week of Locked On College Basketball. If you haven't subscribed to the show, do it right now on video and audio so you don't miss a second. If you've not joined the Locked On College Basketball Discord, we'd love to see you in there as well. It's free to join. The link is in the show notes. As always, apologies to the Lawyer family. Let's go Wild Popes. Cheers to the McBruins. And until tomorrow, peace.